guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well today. So today I have two thrift flips to share with you guys, and I'm really excited about both of these projects. I've been thrifting a lot more regularly this fall, and I feel like it is giving me a little bit of creative inspiration. So recently I decided to pick up a couple of plain sweaters and try and embellish them. I always love seeing the embellished fashion sweaters that are available this time of year, but I also always feel like they're a little bit overpriced for what they are. So I thought I'd try my hand at making a couple myself with some thrifted sweaters. So I have two sweaters to share with you guys today. The first one is the one I'm currently wearing, which you won't be able to see too well here, but I'll put some clips in. This is a crochet cardigan that I found at Goodwill, and I added this crochet lace detailing as well as a velvet bow. I feel like this one turned out so cute. It's inspired by one I saw at Anthropologie. And then the second project is this pink pullover sweater, which I added pearl embellishment to. I love the way this turned out. One of my favorite sweaters last winter had pearl detailing on it, so I thought that would be a pretty easy one to do myself as well. So I love how both of these projects turned out, and let's go ahead and jump in and let me show you how I made them. So starting with the first sweater, I recently thrifted this plain pink sweater. It's a really simple style, and I thought the color would be so pretty with some pearl embellishment. So I picked up some glass pearl beads from Michael's, and I'm going to start by just arranging them on the front of the sweater to see what type of placement I like. I've recently seen so many different pearl embellished sweaters available in the stores, and you can get really creative with the placement. There's a lot of different styles available right now for inspiration. I decided to start by doing this kind of polka dotted pattern on the front, and I really liked the way it looked all over the front of the sweater. I decided to start by sewing all of the pearls onto the front of the sweater before seeing how many I had left to use on the sleeves. And the first thing I'm going to do is just check the spacing to see how far apart I want each bead to be. And I decided on 3 inches both across and up and down. Here's a look at the technique that I use to sew beads onto anything. I always start by securing the thread with 1 or 2 stitches in the fabric so that it feels really strong, and then I'll go ahead and string the bead onto the thread. Make sure you're using a needle that can pass through the beads easily. You can find beading needles if you're using smaller beads. Then I'll just stitch this onto the fabric, and I'll go through the bead and the fabric around 5 to 6 times until I feel like it's very secure. And once I feel like that bead is really well sewn on, I'm going to take a little bit of the fabric with my needle and then wrap my thread around the needle a couple of times and pull it through to make a secure knot. Then I will pass my needle through to the back of the project so that all of the threads are on the back, and then trim my threads. So this process is quite repetitive, but it is very relaxing, and I spent an afternoon just sewing beads all over the sweater. I ended up sewing them all over the front of the sweater as well as the front and back of each sleeve using the exact same spacing and pattern. I did not use them on the back of the sweater, both because I ran out and it was already starting to get quite heavy, but that is totally up to you. You could do however many you want. So that's all that there is to this thrift flip. It's very simple. It just takes a bit of time, but I think the resulting sweater just looks a little bit extra special and maybe even a little bit festive. This could be really cute on a festive color sweater for the holiday season, and I absolutely love how it turned out. Moving on now to the second sweater, I recently found this crocheted cardigan at the thrift store, and it actually looks like it's handmade. I felt a little bit sad at the idea of remaking something handmade, but I knew I could turn it into something that I would love to wear and give it a new life. So I started by finding where the crochet ended so that I could undo the threads and start to unravel the border that had been crocheted all the way around the edge. I knew I wanted to both shorten this cardigan and add a little bit of lace detail, so my first step was to remove all of the edge that had been crocheted all the way around the outside edge of the cardigan. The border was only a couple of rows wide, but I went ahead and rewound up this yarn so that I could reuse it when I went to crochet my lace edging onto the cardigan. I wanted to shorten this cardigan by about 4 inches, and because it was sewn together with side seams, that presented a little bit of a challenge because I couldn't just unravel from the bottom. But what I decided to do was separate those side seams as best I could, trying not to cut any important threads. And then once I got to my desired length, I could pull on one of the horizontal yarns and then just separate that and unravel that yarn. This process took a little bit of time, but I was just being really careful so that I could make sure I had a clean, non-raw edge at the bottom of my cardigan so that I didn't have to worry about it coming unraveled later, and I'm happy to say it was successful. And all of the pieces that I'm removing from the bottom of the cardigan, I was able to unravel and recycle that yarn to use for crocheting the lace as well. So here's how the cardigan is currently looking, and at this point I was thinking it gets worse before it gets better, right? Because I was not too sure, but I decided to go grab an old book of crochet patterns that my mom has. I used to use this back when I was first learning how to crochet. It's designed for thread crochet, but I thought I could adapt this edging to create a nice lace design. So I'm using the first pattern from the book, and I'm adapting it to only be 3 rows of crochet. The first row is just a single crochet stitch all the way around, and I'm using a size 6 or 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I picked something a little bit smaller since the design is more detailed. The second row has a couple of setup stitches, and then we move into this chain 5, skip 3 single crochet repeated pattern, which is really simple and moves really fast. I've put all of the crochet instructions on the screen here so you can screenshot them and look at them more specifically, but I'll also list them down in the description box below. And then after the setup stitches on the final row, it's a chain 5, then single crochet in the next chain 5 space. So those are those spaces we made on the last row. Then you 8 double crochet in the next chain 5 space, and that's what gives the nice scalloped look. It's really fun to do. Then you finish up by single crocheting in the following chain 5 space and repeat that over and over. It gets really easy as you go. And once I've made it all the way around the cardigan, I'm going to cut the yarn and then pull my yarn through this loop to secure it, and then weave this little end into the back of the cardigan so that nothing comes unraveled. Then I'll take this over to my iron and just steam this in place so that the lace looks really nice. I first tried this cardigan on, I noticed that the front wasn't a straight line and it almost looked like it had been designed to have a collar that was never set in place. So I decided to steam a collar in place here in the front. You can see how naturally and easily that's folding, and I think it looks really cute. So now all I had left to do was to add some ribbon to the front to make that cute little bow tie. I'm using some black velvet ribbon that I got from Michael's, and I'm just going to cut 2 pieces into an approximate length, and then I'll decide on my final length after I sew these on. So I'm looping this through the lace, and then I'll just take this over to my sewing machine and stitch it in place. Now all I have to do is tie a bow and decide how long I want the ribbon to be, and then trim the ribbon to my desired length. I absolutely love how this cardigan turned out. It was definitely a trust the process kind of project, but I think it is so cute. And if you didn't want to do a crochet addition to something, you could always buy a crocheted lace trim and sew that on. But I thought it was a good way to reuse the yarn that I was already taking away from this piece, and I think it turned out so adorably. I think both of these sweaters are actually my favorite thrift flips that I've ever done because I feel like they really mesh with my style right now, and they also feel really wearable to me, so I'm excited to get a lot of use out of them this fall and winter season, and I hope you guys enjoyed seeing them. Maybe it gave you a couple of ideas for how you could change up some sweaters that you already have or that you're thrifting. Let me know if you do make any similar projects. I would love to see how they turn out, so either let me know in a comment or tag me over on social media. But thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time here on my channel today. I will be back very soon with a sewing project that I'm working on. I can't wait to show you guys. I really appreciate you spending your time here on my channel. If you do want to keep up with what I'm doing kind of in between YouTube videos, I'm trying to post a little bit more regularly on my Instagram and my TikTok. So if you want to see different things that I'm working on before they come to YouTube, that is where to find me. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do that by clicking the button down below. No longer the red button. I've said the red button in every video I've ever filmed, I think, but they've changed the color. So now it's just the button down below. I would love to have you along for all of my future videos, and I will see you in a new one very, very soon. Bye!